In Things Fall Apart, we can learn about the cultural differences between tribes and the invading country when we finally meet the invading country in the book. And the invading country in the book is Britain. We will see this through the eyes of Anquo. In Things Fall Apart, the author shows Anquo lose his power through an accident, his loss of religion, and finally his loss of self. When we first meet Anquo, and he is one of the top-ranking men in his father's tribe, up until he accidentally kills one of the tribe's members. We see this on page 124 of Things Fall Apart. Guns fired, the lads salute, and the cannon sent the sky. And then the center of the delirious fury came a cry of agony and shouts of horror. It was as if a spell had been cast. All was silent. In the center of the crowd, a boy in a pool of blood. It was the dead man's 16-year-old son, who, with his brothers and half-brothers, had been dancing the traditional farewell to their father. Uncle's gun had exploded, and a piece of iron had pierced through the boy's heart. So, in accidentally killing the boy, he was banished for 7 years from his father's tribe, as well as losing his entire compound that was built from scratch. As seen on page 124 to 125, the only course open to Anquo was to flee from the clan. It was a crime against the Earth Goddess to kill a clansman, and a man who committed it must flee from the land. And the crime was of two kinds, male and female. Anquo had committed the female because it had been inadvertent. He could return to this clan after 7 years. As soon as the day broke, a large crowd of men from Izudu's quarters stormed Anquo's compound, dressed in garbs of war. They set fire to his compound, to his houses, demolished his red walls, killed his animals, and destroyed his barn. It was the justice of the Earth Goddess, and they were merely her messengers. During his banishment, we can see changes happening. One such change is religion. About 2 or 4 years into his banishment, white men came down to spread their amazing religion, which was a version of Catholicism. Seen on page 144 to 145, the arrival of the missionaries had caused a considerable stir in the village of Mbanta. There were 6 of them, and one was a white man. The white man was also their brother because they were all sons of God. And he told them that about this new God, the creator of all the world and all the men and women. He told them that they worshipped false gods, and gods of wood and stone. Most people thought these men were crazy, but some believed in what they were saying. One was Uncle's eldest son. On page 149, although Naui had been attracted to the new faith from the very first day, he kept it a secret. This new religion was breaking up families and the tribes. Because the new religion was breaking up tribes, most people would not wage war in fear of angering the Earth Goddess, as seen on page 176. It is already too late, said Ambrika sadly. Our own men and our sons have joined the ranks of the stranger. They have joined his religion, and they help to uphold his government. Anquo was furious, and he was a warrior, and so he was was as well as his tribe. But his tribe has changed, so he thought of them more as women. As we can see on page 183, Anquo was deeply grieved, and it was not just a personal grief. He mourned for the clan, which he saw breaking up and falling apart, and he mourned for the warlike men of Umafia, who had so unaccountably become soft like women. Because of all the changes that had happened, Uncle couldn't fit into his tribe anymore, and he committed suicide. On page 208, we can see how his friend reacts to his death. Oparika, who had been gazing steadily at his friend's dangling body, turned suddenly to the district commissioner and said furiously, "That man was one of the greatest men in Mafia. You drove him to kill himself, and now he will be buried like a dog." He could not say any more. In conclusion, Things Fall Apart is accurately named because we watch a man slowly crumble because he couldn't keep up with the times. He couldn't change with it. In life, if something falls apart, you either change with it or you'd stick with how everything was before. And in the end, he didn't stick with it. So Uncle felt he couldn't fit into how the world was changing.